This video is for VAT class, and it's going to go over how to move from your less is more based radial design in Photoshop into Illustrator, where we're going to vectorize it and play with color. So you're going to open up Illustrator, and you're going to File, Open your radial design. Now that's a Photoshop file, and that's okay. So when you open it, it's going to give you a dialog box, and this is actually a very important dialog box. We, in Photoshop, had 4 layers for each of those panels, and in Illustrator, we don't want those layers. So we're going to flatten layers to a single image and hit OK. When we get that into Illustrator, if we zoom in holding Alt, you can see there's still pixels, which is fine. You can use images in Illustrator all the time. But in this case, we want to vectorize this image. So we're going to use the black arrow, which is not the move tool, but we use it just as much. So the black arrow is called the selection tool. We're going to click and select that image. When we do that, we get a button at the top that says Image Trace, and there's a drop-down triangle next to it for options. You're going to drop down to 6 colors. Now, if you look at your image of your radial design, there are lots of grays in there. If we were to do something like shades of gray, we would get a lot of different grays, and that's too many to work with. So we're going to simplify it down. We're going to ask the computer to pull out only 6 shades of gray for us. So when we click it, it does some work. Some of you might take longer than others. And when you hold down Alt and zoom in, you'll see that the image now looks kind of smushy, and you can see those 6 different grays. It is one image. You can see the selection around it here. And what we want to do is isolate each of those shapes of gray. So making sure it's still clicked and selected up at the top now that Live Trace has been replaced with a button called Expand. When you click that, you'll see each of the different shades of gray is outlined by shapes. So we've just vectorized our image. You're going to File, Save As. This is your grayscale. So I'm going to save this as grayscale. That's one of the 6 that we need for our design. Keep it Illustrator and hit Save. And hit Save again, and then hit OK. So that's how to get your grayscale. Now to move on to do live color, what we need to do is separate these grays. So we are going to right click and choose Ungroup. This is something you need to be careful about, because when you click off, click in the gray space to deselect and click on, it's going to select one shape at a time. Don't do this, but you can accidentally move a shape. So you don't want to do that. You want to just be careful and just gently click. What I want you to do is click once on your darkest color. And then to find the rest of the darkest shade of gray, I mean, you could do that by hand, but the easier way to do it is to go to Select at the top, Same, Fill and Stroke. This is going to find the same inside color and outside color. So there you go. They're selected. What I want you to do is change that color. Our swatch menu is over here. These are our default swatches. And if they're gone, I'm actually glad they're not there. Sometimes Illustrator just doesn't set up your default. And if that happens, you go into the library and you click on default swatches. And if you were to hit basic RGB, there they are. Those are the same ones that pop down here. But what I actually want you to do is go to the libraries, and I want you to scroll down to, actually scroll up to color books. And I want you to choose one of these Pantones. So Pantones are industry standard colors, maybe not metallics and pastels, but one of your CMYKs here at the top. It's going to give you a little box, but if you pull the box open, you'll notice you have lots and lots of colors. So Pantone has a code for every shade out there that your printer can print. What I want you to do is choose any color. So whatever your heart desires, click it. Now in my situation here, nothing happened, because if I look over here, my stroke is in front, my fill is in the back. So I need to make sure that my fill is in front. Then when I click a color, it should change the color for me. So you've clicked Select, Same, Fill, and Stroke, opened up your Pantone colors, chosen a color, making sure it was on fill. Then I'm going to click on my lightest color that I could find carefully, go to Select, Same, Fill, and Stroke, and I can choose another color. You can stay in the same family, or you can go anywhere you want. So what you're going to gradually do is click each of those 6 shades of gray, making sure all of them are selected, and you're going to pick any color you want to replace it with. You're going to do that 6 times, obviously. This is going to be your random color design, and we're doing that so that we can do a faster method for recolorizing at the end. So I'm going fill and stroke, color, one more, select, same, fill and stroke, color. Ooh, one more, I lied. Select, same, fill and stroke, last color. So you can see there's no more gray. And if you missed one, you want to back up, right? Control Z, back up, back up, back up, to make sure that there are no more grays. You're going to save this one as, we're just going to save it as random because it's not a color scheme. I mean, you might have tried to stick within a color scheme, but it's just sort of a random. This is going to set us up to use live color, which is a faster Illustrator tool.